think they should be able to hear us.
Is everybody on Zoom able to hear us? Yeah, there's an echo. You can give me a thumbs up on your screen. Okay,
Now,
how does this sound, everyone?
no echo.
Okay. Officer Lewis, can you hear us?
I can.
Perfect. Okay, give us just a few minutes and we'll get started.
Okay.
Thank you so much. I'm glad to have you back.
It's a miracle.
We took 3 people.
3.5. 3 to 4.
Yeah. So, no people.
Okay, folks, welcome to our August community meeting. And thank you for showing up for the hybrid. We're trying new things, so bear with us. I am Tracy McDermott. I'm currently filling in tonight for our chair, Shane Sutherland. I just want to open with a few comments. Lana Cordes, who's been our amazing executive director, has stepped down onto other ventures. We're incredibly sad about that. She's done an amazing job for this community, for this organization, and could be more grateful for the work she did. And as some of you finally might have received, and some of you don't know, our long-term board member, Judy Goldsby, a dear friend and colleague and mentor, did pass away in June. And our hearts are heavy, but we wish her well on her new journey over the rainbow. And as a community, incredibly grateful for what she did. Love you, Judy. So welcome, and I'm going to just open it up right up to Officer Lewis and the community District 2 update.
Thank you. Hi, everyone. I have been away from the CRO assignment for a few months, but I'm back. I see a lot of familiar faces, but just for anyone who I haven't had the chance to meet or speak to, I'm Heidi. I am one of the District 2 community resource officers, and I'm back in full force on the CRO team. So I'll be in all of these meetings with you guys. And of course, as always, thank you for letting us give you guys a brief update. So to start with stats, I'm kind of excited because Denver, they just, we have a new crime mapping system online. And now it's been made public to everyone. And so it's interactive. I'm going to put the link in the chat, and you guys are able to go in and look at all the statistics. You can do comparisons. You can search by address. You can search by date and time, or by neighborhood, or it's really cool. And then if you guys still like, I usually do the month over month with percentage changes. If we'd still like to see that, then I'm happy to go ahead and pull those stats for you guys every month, because the percentage changes are the only thing that the online crime mapping system doesn't do for us. So that would be something our analysts can do. So moving on to some of the events that we have coming up. We're in the midst of Denver Days, which I'm sure most of you guys know. So we have some really fun community and neighborhood events planned. And then in addition to that, I just wanted to go through a couple different things that might be of interest. So we are holding a back to school caravan on August 13th at 11 a.m. It is at 1313 Xenia Street, but it is open to all of the District 2 residents and business owners. So if you guys know of any kiddos that need some back to school supplies, please come visit us. We'll have more than enough for everyone. And it's a pretty big caravan. So it's kind of like a parade. It'll be really fun. The next thing I want to share is we are hosting our first community Spanish academy at the DPD Academy over there on Akron. That's going to be Wednesday evenings at 6 p.m. from August 10th to September 7th. So if you're interested in that, shoot me an email and I'll get you set up with Jeanette Dominguez, who is part of our recruitment team, and we can get you guys into the Spanish Academy. We are also hosting a public safety job fair at Ball Arena on August 27th from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. And that encompasses all of public safety. So you're going to have 911, fire, police, dispatch, if you have any interest in a public safety career, come visit us out there and we can give you guys all the information. We'll have all of our recruitment teams out there. And then earlier today, I sent out an email to all of the board members of all the RNO groups that we are connected with for an early childhood education program, excuse me, was just rolled out by the volunteers, and they're hosting 3 to 5 year olds. And it's just to help out with childcare for families in need. So if you have any interest in that, you can reach out to me, or again, I sent it to the board members as well. And that's just an additional resource that we just became aware of. And then at this point, I'm going to open it up for question and answer if anyone has anything for me.
Does anybody online or in the room have any questions for Officer Lewis? Don't see anybody raising their hand.
I do want to have the childcare thing.
Heidi, did you hear that question?
No, I did not.
Regarding the childcare program, you mentioned that at the end. What is involved in that?
Yeah, so if you want to reach out and send me either myself an email or Tracy an email, I can send you the flyer, and it's an entire informational booklet. It's essentially the Volunteers of America are hosting an ECE program for 3 to 5 year olds. That's what they specified on there, and it's completely free childcare. Now, off the top of my head, I don't remember the times or anything like that, but I'd be happy to send you that information.
Anybody on Zoom with a question? Okay, if not, Officer Lewis, thank you. We're so happy to have you back, and as always, we're grateful for your updates. So thank you.
Thank you guys so much.
All right, be safe. In your detail, the community update.
Oh.
Yes, I just need to hold the PowerPoint.
Slides.
But will that pull it up? from-
Think so.
Just a minute, folks.
Because it's
But I've got to share my screen first, right? Is that working? All right,
Yeah.
can everybody see that?
Yeah.
Okay, great. Well, guess what, everyone? It's a hybrid meeting. In case you couldn't tell. But we're all very happy to be here. We do have a few folks in the room, and we're really glad to be able to see folks in person, and more of you online, but that's great. And glad to see everybody. So just a quick peek at the agenda here. So we've already heard for our wonderful warm welcome from Tracy McDermott, and we've just heard from Officer Heidi Lewis. So now it's off to the community update. And first up, it's right around the corner. I can't believe it. It's the home tour and street fair. Woo! It is the premier event, in my opinion, of this organization. It's so much fun. It's coming up on September 25th from 11 to 5. Absolutely buy some tickets for the home tour. And if you want to become a vendor or you want to volunteer, that registration is open. And the information to sign up for all that stuff is online. So go to greaterparkhill.org and you can find all the information about the home tour and street fair. Be sure to show up to the street fair too. There's going to be awesome food trucks there and all kinds of cool stuff to check out, just like there is every year. And it's going to be a beautiful Sunday in September. All right, next up, Oh.
That's the question. I
Oh,
should
yes.
know this, but is it gonna be virtual like it was last?
Oh, yes, so the home tour last year was kind of a quasi virtual. It was like virtual for inside, but you could see the outside of the homes. I actually don't know if it's gonna be fully indoors this time
Kind of
around.
depends on the.
Does anyone else know?
That, I don't know that definitively. Bring up a good point.
That is a good
If
point.
there is a big rise in COVID, I don't know what's gonna happen.
Yeah.
So,
Kind of iffy.
we'll get the answer to that.
Yeah, so great question from the audience. Are we actually doing the home tour for real, or is it gonna be a quasi virtual thing? The answer is, we don't know yet, but we'll let you know as soon as possible. So keep an eye on that page and at least definitely show up for the street fair. You'll be able to get tickets for the home tour at the street fair, so you can attend it that way. All right, and then next up we have, we're continuing on with our free farm stand. So this is June through October, and it's on Mondays from 10 to 1. This is for everybody. The whole purpose of the farm stand is that there's a whole bunch of food that gets left over from various farmers markets and stuff over the weekend. And we just want that food to get gobbled up. So come on by and see what you can find. There's really good goodies there, and it's absolutely welcome to 100% everybody. That's on Mondays from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m., June through October. So we still have a good couple months of grow season here. All right, and then of course, speaking of food, we can't talk about food without talking about our food programs. Our pantry is well stocked, but we could always use more. This gives you an idea of some of the specific needs. Peanut butter, fruit, ramen, chili. We always appreciate bread and milk and eggs and fresh produce too. But whatever you got, bring it on by. The other day I brought over a contact solution. It was unopened, you know, and honestly, people can use contact solutions. So whatever you can bring by is very much appreciated. If you can donate, or you can also donate monetarily. You can even sign up to be a monthly donor if you like. So that all is on our website as well, greaterparkhill.org. And we're hiring, and if you haven't noticed, we're desperate. We could really use an executive director. Just kidding. Lana has given so much time and so many resources and continues to, but we also need to respect that she's moving on to the next chapter of her life. So if you know anyone who would like to have a fantastic job leading this organization, it's a part-time gig, 20 to 25 hours a week. We've got specific information on the website for all that it entails. Get creative, think about different people who might fit in with this, because the skills that are required can be, we can really get creative with the types of people that we're entertaining for this position. The #1 requirement is you just have to love Park Hill. So start there and then go from there.
That's pretty easy.
Pretty straightforward. We also just want to make sure that everyone's aware of this. This has already been covered in the news, and you know we've talked about it in this group too. But waste services are changing for not just our neighborhood, but for the whole city and county of Denver. So soon we're going to change to a weekly recycling collection instead of every 2 weeks. But in order for that to happen, instead of just having to pay for compost, everybody's going to have to pay a little bit. So it depends on how big your trash is, how much you end up paying, but it's anywhere from $9 to $21 a month. And one thing I'll note too is that if you are having trouble figuring out how you're going to afford that 9 to 21, there are programs available that you can apply for to reduce that rate, or even to possibly get free services depending on your income. So there's more information on the denvergov.org website. But just want to make sure everyone knows that that is going to get started in January 2023. So just in a few months here, we're going to see a change. The other good thing about that, though, that I have to note is that that includes compost. So everybody will be able to compost now. And the Denver Compost Program is really extraordinary. You'd be surprised all the different stuff they can take, including sexy pizza boxes. Mm-hmm. So, and I contribute sexy pizza boxes pretty much once a week, so.
So much to say.
The sexy chic is the one you want to get. All right, so that's waste services. Oh, and then another very important meeting that's coming up is the Park Hill Golf Course large development review information meeting. So yeah, it's going to be a biggie. So the Park Hill Golf Course land that's over on basically between 35th and about Birchish to Colorado Boulevard. We all know it is the owner of that property, Westside Investment Partners, has submitted an application to develop that land. Part of the process with the community planning department is that you have to go through this, you have to hold an information meeting. So the information meeting that's coming up starts at 5:30 p.m. on Wednesday, September 7th. It's going to be over at the clubhouse, 4141 East 35th, but you know it, it's right there on the corner of 35th and basically Colorado. It is hosted by the owner, it's their meeting, but everybody's welcome. 5:30, I believe it goes until 8 o'clock. So if you're interested in hearing more about their intentions with that land and you want to give some feedback or learn some more or ask questions, and please be sure to show up for that meeting.
Is that the second rescheduled date? Because I originally thought I saw sometime in early August and then sometime in around the 18th, and then now this date. Is that correct?
It is. Well, this date is the rescheduled date for the LDR information meeting, but there's a CBD steering committee meeting,
Sure.
August 23rd.
But was it, this was like originally going to be on our meeting?
It was.
And then it was pushed and then pushed again? Okay.
Yeah, that's right. So Nam was just bringing up that this is a rescheduled date. You can see that on the slide too, for those of you that are looking at it. It was originally scheduled for tonight, but GPHC was concerned about that because we know this is a very important piece of land and everybody has a lot of big interest in it. And we didn't want it to conflict with our long-standing meeting. So we made a request to have it rescheduled and that request was honored. So it was originally going to be pushed out, I think, just a couple weeks, but now it's going to go to September 7th. So this is the official rescheduled date. I don't believe it's going to get rescheduled again.
There was another date floating around.
Yeah.
There was-
I thought in one of our emails.
The re-reschedule.
Yeah,
The reschedules.
very official this time.
Right.
It's definitely on September 7th. There's signs around the property too, and it's on the Denver website, the
Right,
Park Hill
we
Golf
got
Course
it.
website. Yeah, so we should,
Our September meeting. Yes,
You don't think they do that?
It's on a Wednesday this time. It's on a Wednesday. So everyone be sure to carve out time for that. If that issue is important to you, that's going to be a crucial meeting to attend.
And also the August 23rd meeting that we conducted by Community Planning and Development. If you're not on their mailing list, you can go to their website and sign up to observe.
That's just like the next in the steering meetings.
That's what I understand.
Yep, steering committees, they're hybrid right now, the steering committees, but hybrid in the sense that the official steering committee members may meet in person, but guests may not. So they are only permitted to observe via Zoom. But you can observe, and you also can sign up to speak, although I'm not sure if this one, there's going to be time for speaking. Normally there's public comment, but this upcoming August 23rd meeting is going to, anyone who's been following the steering committee meetings, it's typically a lot of presentations and not so much discussion. But this time the whole meeting will be dedicated to only discussion by the steering committee members. So again, guests won't be able to interact in that way, but the steering committee will it'll just be a discussion forum. So I'm not sure if you'll be able to sign up to speak or not, but if you want to know for sure, go to the Denver Gov website. I just Google Park Hill Golf Course and it comes up pretty high up on the old SEO search. So yeah, August 23rd is the next steering committee meeting. That should be an interesting one. Those are really all the updates. If you want to know more or you want to keep up with us, of course, you should join our email list. Probably most of you already have. But if you haven't, please consider doing so. We send out notices about all kinds of different neighborhood stuff like public hearings and new liquor licenses or marijuana licenses or all kinds of stuff like that. So it's just kind of good to know what's going on in the neighborhood. And the Facebook page is another great way to keep up with the haps. So be sure to stay in touch with us, and we're back to our agenda. And I believe next up,
Hold on.
Can I say-
Oh, yes.
Yeah. I have
Tracy?
one announcement.
Tracy, can I say something real quick?
Yeah, go ahead, Colette.
Sorry, I'm gonna get on my soapbox now. I don't know how many board members are on today, but I'm gonna do it quick because you brought up the farm stand, and I know that we're looking for volunteers from the board to come in on Saturdays and collect that food and weigh it and put it away. And I used to do it quite a bit, and unfortunately I work on Saturday afternoons now and I can't. But there were so many open slots, and there's no reason why someone can't go in and take one Saturday, because I tell you, it takes 15 minutes. You greet the people, you weigh the food, you put it away. So, you know, I'm just saying, guys, help out there, because I felt bad for Alana because she keeps sending around the Survey Monkey and there's a bunch of empty slots, so.
Yeah, I hope
And the people who deliver the food, they help, because usually, you know, they've got containers.
They bring it in, they help bring it in. And then a lot, yeah, they help bring it in. And then the only thing really that you have to put stuff in the refrigerator, but not all of it. So,
So.
yeah, so
Very easy.
Yeah, it is very easy. I
it's
believe
super easy.
We're covered the next 2 weekends, and I know where that link is, so I will also send it around and we'll get it full.
All right, so hopefully I've successfully shamed everybody.
You did.
I will now keep my mouth shut.
Hey, Colette, just so you know, this is Jackie. Colette, I'm just telling real quick, I always told Lana, if you ever have a Saturday open, to call on me. I almost always do it. And so she knows that. she's
All right. All right, I've guilted you, Jackie. All right, sorry, back to the meeting.
Okay, so
Ms. Claire.
we have one quick announcement. So our organization did apply for a micro grant. Brenda, correct me on the north of what street are we looking for? MLK. So we are hoping to get our newspaper more widely distributed in North and Northeast Park Hills. We applied for a micro grant to make that happen, where we will be incentivizing some folks to new members, new block workers to sign up for blocks north of MLK, preferably if you live north of MLK, to help deliver our paper and get this out so that our entire community is informed. And we will keep mentioning this till we fill all of our volunteer slots. But we're very excited about it. We think it's gonna be a great program, and we'll have a kickoff meeting soon, and everybody will be seeing announcements about that. So there's that. So we've got for sure 2 more things on our agenda. Monica Martinez is here with an update on the East Colfax district, and then Daryl Watkins. Do I have that right, Daryl?
Watson, but I don't know
Watson,
about
I am so sorry. I'm so sorry. It's not on my agenda. He will be introducing himself here in a moment too. So Monica, you have the floor.
Hi, everybody. Thanks for having me again. And I really intended to come today. And then yesterday, my daughter came down with COVID. So I know it's, I could hear people laughing. I couldn't hear the joke.
No, just glad you didn't come, we appreciate it.
Oh, yeah,
I'm so
right.
sorry. Is she okay? Is she okay?
Yeah, she's, she's on the couch, and she did have some vomiting in the night, but that's subsided. So, hopefully it'll only be a short time. And, then she has the antibodies, right? So let me see, I'm going to try to share my screen, and, this is like, the fun of the virtual, but I'm back to just talk about the international district that we're working on. And I think, oops, am I allowed to share my screen? I cannot share while the other participant is sharing.
Give me 1 minute.
Okay, yeah, I think that will let me, okay. How does that work? Everyone can see that? Okay, so I came, I think in May, and presented, as you all know, the FACTS Partnership is a nonprofit based on the East Colfax Corridor, and in the East Area Plan was a recommendation to designate Monaco to Yosemite an international district. And we've been having business meetings, business breakfasts every other month, and then we've been going to the different RNOs to talk about this idea and get folks engaged. And you can see that we're calling it the East Colfax Cultural District because a lot of our businesses and community members felt like the term cultural was more inclusive than international. But we're here to talk about this idea and continue to get input. And so, like I said, the East Colfax Cultural District was a recommendation out of the East Area Plan. And we've held businesses, we've had kickoff meetings with RNOs, and we've been conducting surveys to get, folks understanding of what folks are thinking about in terms of this district. And it really is, a branding, sort of claiming of the corridor for those who are here. And so it's not a tax financing district, anything like that. So we're currently doing a survey, and if you can, take your little phone up to that QR code, or you can go to our website. We're trying to get input from folks about the name. Do folks like cultural district? Do people want to keep it the international district? Or, we have a doozy of a name, the East Colfax Cultural International District. And so, right, that rolls off your tongue. We have 36 responses so far, and would love for you all to take the survey, or Lana, if you could, promote it through your emails. We're still taking input on that. And want to just share the survey results so far of the name. 53% of the respondents so far like the East Colfax Cultural District, and 28 like East Colfax International District, and then about 20 like the hybrid name. And so the survey is still live. We also are trying to put together a mission statement, and we put out these 2 mission statements to celebrate and preserve the multicultural communities of the East Colfax corridor, and to empower them to create a welcoming and collaborative destination for dining, shopping, and entertainment. And about 57% of the respondents like that one. The second one is to celebrate and preserve the multicultural community of East Colfax by empowering the voices of current businesses and residents to create a welcoming international experience of commerce, culture, and community. Those were the 2 that we kind of workshopped with our businesses at our June 2nd business breakfast. And this survey that's out there is testing these 2, and you can kind of vote on these, or you can offer your own suggestions. And here are examples of some folks, like someone said, remove international district, or replace empowering voices with lifting the voices, or kind of rearranging the words. And we've clearly heard from some community members, particularly in East Colfax neighborhood. They really want to see the inclusion of language around community-owned real estate, as a way to preserve the multicultural businesses that are on East Colfax. And so we have a business breakfast next week where we're going to continue to workshop this mission statement. This is the latest version to celebrate and preserve the multicultural community of East Colfax by amplifying the voices of the diverse community members, supporting locally owned businesses so they can thrive, and creating a welcoming international experience of commerce, culture, and community. So those 2 previous versions, we kind of cobbled those together, workshopped them around, and then we came up with this version. But I think we're still hearing from folks that they want to have maybe stronger language around locally owned businesses. So would love your input on this, on that survey. The other thing that we have underway is a treasure mapping process, and you can visit our website there. And I think we have a QR code. We're asking folks to sort of give us their thoughts on what their treasures are on East Colfax. You can see that we have like different icons for different things that exist there and what it is that you like. We recognize that East Colfax is a complicated street, and there's treasures, there's challenges, and this effort is really to kind of lift up those treasures, amplify them, and then obviously improve the safety and desirability of the street. And so this treasure mapping process is underway, and you can scan this QR code, or I can also put this link in the chat. And we're asking folks, what are the 2 or 3 community treasures you like? And this is a picture of our June business breakfast. We had it at Eastfax Tap, and we put a map out on the bar. It was perfect. Like we were at a dive bar on a Friday morning. I felt, like I was 20 again, and everyone kind of marked on the map what their treasures were. And that process is underway. And so the next steps on this activity, we want to apply to the Neighborhood Activation Grant. Lana, maybe you saw this or others in the meeting, you saw this was released this week from the city. It's a community grant. I think you could apply for $20,000 to $200,000. And the FACS wants to apply for this to, maybe put those flags on the light poles, benches on the street. Maybe we fund an event. Our business breakfast next week, we're going to be talking to our businesses about, if we were to get 200,000, what would folks like the funding to be spent on? And so you can, visit our website, the FACS Denver C District, or our Facebook to stay engaged. And I'll put the link to those surveys in the chat. And I'm happy to take any questions that folks may have.
So, yeah,
Or
so Monica,
thoughts on the mission statement. Go ahead.
yeah, Lana's no longer the executive director here.
Oh, God, I'm sorry.
Okay.
That was
so,
quick.
and then-
Okay.
No, not that quick. She's been here for several years.
Well, I guess I meant
so-
quick. Like, I think I emailed her like maybe 3 weeks ago. So I guess I meant like from the time
Yeah, so I have a couple of questions for you. One, how long will the survey remain up?
So the mission statement survey, that first one, we're keeping that up through August. And then the
Okay.
treasure map, sorry.
No, sorry, Monica, your treasure map one, so I did use my phone to go on the survey. It keeps coming up to a not found address. So do you just may want to double check that?
Okay, let me talk to my communications.
Yeah, I did it twice and it still led me to that.
Well, I really apologize for that. And I usually check that before I, do these presentations. So let me, okay.
And then my one question is this essentially serving as a bid?
No, like I said at the start, this is not a bid. And it's not even sort of the precursor to a bid. It really is a means of this was an idea that came out of the East Area Plan and from the East Colfax neighborhood particularly was, how do we claim this community for who's here now? How do you celebrate what makes East Colfax, special, and the businesses that, are, part of this cultural fabric, which is, Ethiopian restaurants and African-American barbershops. And so it's a means of sort of celebrating this culture that exists on this corridor. It is not a bid. Because as you know, a bid is a self-taxing district, and that's just, this corridor is not really able to sustain that.
Okay, and just one more question. I'm sorry for hogging all the time. Would you be able to put together a list of your meetings, number of attendees, and send it over to Chair at Greater Park Hill?
Sure. Yeah, so meetings that we've had with our businesses.
Or with the community about this?
Okay. Yeah, I can put, so it's you're interested in the community events that we've held?
Yeah, how many attended in your upcoming events surrounding it? Would be great.
Or the events we've already held?
Both.
Well,
Okay, 'cause-
but I didn't hear that there are actually any community events, but that it's all kind of like online.
Is that right, Monica? It's all online engagement, or is there community events coming up?
Sounded like with businesses, they are doing some outreach, is what I heard. Believe.
So yeah, we have a business breakfast next week. This will be our 4th business breakfast. And then we've been attending the RNO meetings to do this kind of engagement. We had a health fair at our property today, had 300 people come out, and they were kind of putting, they were there mostly for the health fair, but they were putting, their treasures on a list. And so we're trying to do multiple ways of engaging folks, realizing that not everyone turns out to RNOs. You try to meet them in the street through these health fairs or our business breakfasts.
Okay, perfect. Thanks, Monica. I've got at least one question online. Leslie?
Hi, Monica. It's Leslie Twarogowski. I think this sounds very exciting. I've heard what you said, that it's not going to be a bid. And my question is, so how does this get funded in the years going forward? Is it like a merchants association, or does the funding come from the FACTS partnership, or how does that work?
Yeah, I mean, that's a good question. That's what we're trying to figure out. That's why we're excited about this neighborhood activation grant. That would be the best way to sort of jumpstart this. But next year we're planning to have conversations about governance, right? You can create something, but if you don't have the funds to sustain it, it won't last. And you particularly know that with your work on Federal Boulevard. So the FACTS will continue to pursue funding on behalf of this district, but we anticipate either it's spins off and it becomes self-sustaining through funding that it gets, or we continue to pursue funding and have it be sort of within our organization as we try to build this into something that is self-sustaining.
Well, I think that sounds fantastic. And thank you for trying to help this community that I think has been underappreciated for far too long. So thank you.
Any other question here on the floor?
I just have a quick question, and it might not be relevant because I'm not. Are we talking generally to the business owners as well as the people who own the property?
Yeah, we are primarily talking to the business owners, not to the property owners. Those are kind of harder folks to engage. While I was talking to Tracy, I realized, yes, the treasure mapping does not say that link does not work. The link for the mission statement does. So my apologies. I will be sure that we get that out. We correct that. But I'd love to talk to the property owners. I've found that it's harder to engage the property owners. If you have thoughts on that, I'm totally open to hearing ways to engage the property owners more.
And the homeowners who live adjacent, Monica, what's the engagement there?
Like I said, I've been attending RNO, so I've presented to Historic Montclair, and we kind of give updates monthly at ECNA, at the East Colfax Neighborhood Association, and then this is my second time presenting to you all. And then we've also put articles in some of the local newspapers. The two council district newsletters. We had an article run in Afrique Digest, and then ECNA's newsletter. I have spoken to Greater Park Hill News. I don't think they've run an article, but they did interview us about this. So any better, and then of course social media. We post on Twitter and Facebook our surveys. And then, like I said, I just got a text from my staff that our health fair wrapped up today, and we had 500 people come out, and we had a table around this concept at that event. If you have other suggestions for how we can engage our community, I'm interested in hearing those.
Have you flyered the nearby homes?
No, we have not flyered the nearby homes.
Okay.
So that's something maybe they need help with, because one of the problems I think with Colfax.
Can you hear, Monica?
Can you hear me?
Sort of. Yeah.
Okay. One of the problems with trying to do anything with Colfax, especially since the property values are so high now, is dealing with the property owners, because in order to sustain the businesses, you have to have money, and you can't work out something with the people who actually own the property. They still kind of, they hold the chains. And so it's really hard to do them. And I'm not a person I'm not an investor or anything like that. So not like I have the experience, but if there is some way of talking with them, or, I mean.
Can I make a clarification here? We've got two, I think we're talking about two different things, property owners and homeowners.
Correct.
Homeowners are also property owners,
No,
but you've got kind of, we're talking two different things, so what are we talking about here?
She was talking about homeowners, which is very important because it impacts them.
So that is, and you're talking about.
I'm talking people who own the business
Business
property. Because they're the ones who have the money.
Right.
And they're the ones that you have to convince that there's value in keeping those businesses there. Because as soon as they get the opportunity to sell, a lot of times they will do it. And again, I'm not an expert on this stuff. I just see what's happened along the years. And, if there's some people in real estate that can help us, or anyone who can help us with this. I mean, I'm a mouthpiece, but I don't have much information on how to do that. But if there's some way of working with them, I'd be willing to even call some real estate people to try to get somebody to help with that. Because I have a friend who lives like a block away from Colfax. And so,
So both of those are important. I think, in other words, I think what if you're hearing it, Monica, one thing is I think everybody's feeling like we probably ought to engage landlords along there as well as anywhere action. Okay, at least a couple of blocks off, right? At least a couple, if maybe not 5, 6.
And you're more, yeah, she's great to even take this on.
No, I think it's great you're doing this. And this is a DDO grant you're going for, right? Is that what you're looking at, this DDO, the Denver Economic Development?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I definitely hear, and I didn't catch your name, but I think you're absolutely right. I mean, we're very concerned about the displacement of businesses. The FACTS has a business support office where we're supporting our businesses. For example, we have a grant to support the corner stores along East Colfax. We're supporting about 10 corner stores. They're all immigrant owned. Do you know that none of them have like a bookkeeping system? They, don't have marketing. They don't have websites. So we're providing training with an accountant in Amharic and Tigrinya and Burmese. We have 8 languages in-house. And so I very much live and breathe this fear of business displacement. And so our strategy to address that is providing them more service and more support, helping them have stronger business operations so they can stay and pay what likely will be increasing rents. And this is what we've heard from East Colfax. Like, there needs to be a strategy for helping these businesses purchase their properties. And I am excited. I would like a strategy around that. But as someone else in the room said, the property values are so high. If we have businesses who are struggling to get a $20,000 loan for a new freezer, how can they possibly afford a $700,000 loan to purchase their property? And so it's a challenge that the market is so strong and expensive. So what our strategy is, how do you support them now with supports so that they become more successful businesses? And then this cultural district would then sort of cement them as like the identity of this community and then help them get more customers so that then their businesses become even more successful. And we've reached out to some folks. Are there strategies for helping business owners purchase their space? We're doing a lease negotiation training with our businesses in the fall, all to try to address the issues you raised. And I deeply appreciate what you said.
So is it known if, so the East Area Plan, in addition to recommending this district, also recommends 8-story development, which I am seeing that is encouraging demolition. So,
Tracy, could you repeat what she just said? Do you mind?
So Bert, so the speaker's right there. Hold on just a second, Monica.
So I was just asking, when the East Area Plan recommends this district, but it also recommended 8-story development along these nodes where this bus rapid transit system is supposed to happen. The plan is around this BRT that doesn't make sense. But if there's this 8-story development, and if there's one of those nodes between Monaco and Yosemite, then how do we protect this district?
Yeah, we can't. It's sort of funny. It's hard to hear. So I think I heard that there something about 8-story development. Is that correct?
Yes.
Yeah. Yes.
Yes.
I think she's worried about what can we do to protect against this, because what you're seeing is in this East Area Plan, it's recommending 8-story development. So what can we do? Check against that, because that would,
Right.
it-
It
that would
encourages the
encourage
landowners
demolition.
to sell, right?
Yes, encourage demolition.
Demolition.
Because I
Yeah.
think their buildings 7 stories on top of one.
I believe, if my recollection serves me, I think 8 stories is allowed at Yosemite and Colfax and Colorado and Colfax. I don't know. And that's in exchange for a community benefit, like affordable housing or affordable commercial space, which could be a strategy to keep these local businesses in place. Or community serving, like I think a park or something, a plaza. But I mean, I think you raise a point that if you allow for greater density, then it could encourage more development, which means then, some of these small businesses get pushed out. I think we're trying to balance the need for more housing units with sort of maintaining the status quo. And that's the challenge of the crises we have in front of us with our affordable housing crisis.
There are other questions. I don't see any other hands. Monica, thank you, and encourage you to come back more and keep updated. And just if there's upcoming meetings people should be attending, and we can get that news out, please let us know.
So thank you. Just a follow-up question. If Lana, is there a interim or like, I think Tracy, you said chair at, is that the email we should be sending stuff to?
You can still send it to director at Greater Park Hill. That's all being monitored. So the work is still going on. Things, you won't notice a hiccup.
Okay, thank you.
Sorry, we're laughing, Monica, because Tracy's making faces at us.
Fingers crossed, everything
And
goes.
Monica,
It only took 3
I
people
don't
today
think my
to
daughter-
run the meeting.
So we have in the room, and
Really?
yeah, Daryl, I'm gonna be kind of stand in the middle so we can pick you up, but Daryl Watson, did I have this right?
Yes.
Is running for District 90. Would just like to take a few minutes to introduce himself, so.
Feel bad having my back. Is it?
Here's the camera, there's the mic.
There you
Okay. Well, I don't want my back to be, sorry, back.
Those people don't matter.
Jackie's tough, so Jackie can do. So I want to say first and foremost, Monica, what an amazing, the fact that you and your facts team, not like you don't have anything going on in your life, lady, decided to take this on. And I know that the naming of it as a district creates some complexity as far as folks thinking what you are doing. So I look forward to see what your final name process is. But we know these communities, we know their hearts, we know how they have invested into the city and how often they're marginalized, and the good work they're doing at the facts. And then to take this on, lady, I have no idea, but I am with you, and it's your opportunity along with council, actually with the leadership to implement the East Area Plan and all the other stuff. All those questions, let's get the council members in here and ask them the story on how they're going to supplement the great work that Monica is doing. So I really wanted to take a minute from my brief introduction to extend my brief introduction to thank you for all that you're doing, because I just think you're amazing. So anyway, my name is Daryl Watson. I am a candidate for Denver City Council, District 9. My pronouns are he, him. I am sure everyone that's online or even here are aware that North and South Park Hill will become part of District 9 in the 2023
North
elections.
and South Park Hill. See, they're not-
One Park Hill.
What was one Park Hill? But I'm just simply saying.
Park Hill in this room.
Okay, so let me be clear. To just simply say one Park Hill means that then I'm excluding what the city is considering Northeast Park Hill.
Well, I have-
They're not-
part of that too, but they're part of our.
But they're not part of the district, so I'm trying to be clarified.
I
So
think
I'm
I
not,
understand.
I'm not saying I think it should be separate Park Hills. So I just wanted to clarify that, but just for the sake of.
But you can't run for 2 council districts.
No, I can't run for 2. And I think the redistricting process was a little bit interesting. That's a whole different topic for a different time, but
Don't get me started.
no, don't get me started. But I wanted to just really come to your meeting to introduce myself, to have an opportunity to listen to the issues that are important to you. I'm going to give you a quick little background so you have a sense of who I am and where I'm rooted. A little sense of kind of my 3 kind of, she's highlighting there are 5 million other things beneath them. And then a little bit of my community engagement and how I engage with community and community form within the process and work that I have done. I think, and I've done collaboratively over the years that I've been in Denver. On the youngest of 7, born actually in Brooklyn, New York, raised in the United States Virgin Islands, a single mother, 7 kids. Oftentimes the 7th kid gets forgotten because there's so many others in front of them. But we grew up in the projects of the Virgin Islands, and I think one of the things that I always share with folks is we had absolutely no idea what poor meant. I had no idea that we were poor until, quite frankly, until we got cable in the 9th grade, and I could see how folks lived on the continent. I was like, is that how people live? I had no idea what the difference was for monetary health and monetary wealth. But I knew my mom. One of the most resilient people I know, as a single mom of 7, she raised all of us. She went to night school to get her GED after I was born, after working maybe 50 hours a week, and going to get her GED. Then she went to a 2-year kind of college, the UVI, so the University of Virgin Islands, to get her nursing certificate so she can work in gerontology, working with elders and supporting them. We never felt like we missed anything without having money to buy stuff. We always knew from her to never give up. I remember my mom dragging me to political campaigns on the islands, which are kind of crazy. You think politics up here is nuts. Wait till you do it in the West Indies, and she would take us door to door on things political and not so political. We, as I said, we projects, and they would, she would hold flower parties. So folks would have, everyone had a garden, no matter how the garden looks, and she would put on a garden event and actually make kind of the trophies out of like, whether it's out of crocheting or whatever for the winners. And she just did this on her own. Had nothing to give, but she thought it was important to build and bring community together. And you'll see kind of when I speak to who I am and where I'm rooted, that idea of community, collaboration, and really being resilient is all part of kind of who I am and who I became. I moved to Colorado in '87 to attend the University of Colorado at Denver. In 10th grade, I'm a very studious young man. I opened my Encyclopedia Britannica. We had to study the history of U.S. We knew all of the states and all of the industries and stuff. So I knew Colorado, what it was. But I wanted the Encyclopedia Britannica because I wanted to be a state that had 4 seasons. I also had sunshine. And Colorado had the 300 days of sunshine in the first sentence in the Encyclopedia Britannica. And wanted to be a place where people like the outdoors, because I grew up in the islands. My mom opened the door and said, get out when we were kids, and then we would go climb trees and pick mangoes and all that stuff. So I chose Colorado. I studied business communications and began a career in finance. Worked for 30 years between the many iterations of U.S. Bank for the first 7 years of my career, and the last 23 at TIAA, Teachers Insurance Association. I chose Teachers Insurance Association because I felt they were a mission-driven organization. I felt their mission was aligned with my family's focus on community service and support, and really aligned with me. Growing up without much, I always knew that financial literacy and allowing being focused on ensuring that we actually, as a whole, as a family, came up together, the power of how working together and collaborating will bring us out of the cycle of poverty that our family was in generationally. And literacy, financial literacy became my focus in TIAA, serving educators, nonprofits, and governmental agencies, as well as research and science. Was a perfect fit for my 23 years. I've managed wealth management teams. I also managed their culture and their associate experience programs over those years. And my husband of 17 years and I both retired 2 years ago, fake retirement 2 years ago. He was an educator for 32 years, started school older, taught schools up and down Jeffco from elementary to 12, and I did financial services. Quick hit about my husband and I, who is the love of my life. It's amazing. We met actually on the street. I was president of Whittier R&L. That's where I met Jackie when I was president. And some of the folks on the call I met as well. And he lived on 25th of Lafayette, I lived on 27th of Lafayette, he moved in, he called me up, because obviously what number where you need to pay dues, he called me up, came to the meeting. Was in love at first sight, but we fell in love. He sold his house on 25th of Lafayette, sold my house on 27th of Lafayette, bought a house on 26th of Lafayette, weird. So, thinking my colleague Shonda Rhimes and saying, hey, do you want a gay rom-com, just do our life, and that would be it. But he is part of my foundation, the reason why I'm running. I think oftentimes when folks are in these races, the thirst and desire for power and the ability to make big decisions, all of those things are the most important. My decision was really rooted in families, rooted in service, and that's where I came from. Without his support, and I'll take retirement, I would not be here. I only camping somewhere in the mountains, which is where we have our joy. A little bit of background, a little bit of family. My mom lives in Denver, now she lives in Curtis Park. She lied to me, so she wanted to come up here to see snow, and then she's been here since 1998. She's never left. She lived in my basement for a short time, and she decided to leave and move to Curtis Park, and so she's lived with a while with us. A little community background, so you have a sense. I shared that I was president of the Whittier R&O, which it's the heart of me and my family. I love the community. I specifically chose the community because of the history of redlining, and history of how people live. Manning High School, knew Elbert Wedgeworth, Councilman Wedgeworth, when she ran for council. I was living in Denver. I watched her wanting to be there in a community where I can actually have an impact, especially Manual High School and dealing with financial needs. Beyond my work as an R&O president, I'm currently chair of the Housing Stability Board for the City County Denver. I created that board last June, and last November they voted for me to become the chair, and the focus of that board is to advise the Department of Housing Stability, which is an easy job, advising them on kind of how they're spending that money and building transparency. One of the things that we are pushing through very hard is to ensure that folks know the upwards of close to $300 million that the city is invested within housing, from unsheltered to full spectrum to market rate, that people know how that money is being spent. I'm really good with data and focus on data. I think data is important when you're in these roles, and we're really pushing and moving them to do a lot of things that they weren't doing for the first 2 to 3 years of business. I'm also the chair of the Denver Park Trust. I'm a park person. Jackie knows that. I can share a little more what the parks done. But the Denver Park Trust was created to help to purchase, acquire land, but more importantly, is to ensure that marginalized communities and all communities have healthy and good parks within a 10-minute walk or roll across Denver, especially around the inverted L. And we are doing a lot of great work in making sure that that occurs. I was appointed by Governor Polis to the Colorado Secure Savings Program Board. It's a board that's been focused on ensuring that there is a retirement, that folks can retire in dignity across the state. Over 90,000 Coloradans do not have the ability or the opportunity for retirement income because they either work for a small firm that doesn't do it, they work in construction, they're in the gay industry, etc. They are not retiring with dignity. They don't have the opportunity that some of us, like I did, at 50, retired from a really great company. We're creating a retirement product that we're going to roll out in November. The legislature created what the platform architecture is, and we are making sure we are not harming small business by creating another mandate on them. The state is taking over all of the requirements for managing the process. Help lift families out of poverty and really help them with financial needs. So that's a little bit of my community. I want to share very briefly some of the things that I'm really focused on. I chose to run for 2 reasons. I think we're facing, I think, some big decisions in 2023. I don't think we can wait 4 more years to make some decisions and work collaboratively with the community. Some of the tough issues that are facing the state. First and foremost, on housing. I just spoke a lot about housing prices. Monica has been tasked to fix the housing prices on Colfax. That's kind of true. But looking at housing and really focusing on how we can tackle that very tough issue within the community. I've done that. Chair of the Housing Stability Board, number one, passive plan, which is specifically what we should be doing. And then we also looked at housing measure. And this is from dealing with unsheltered all the way to market great housing. I think there's a way. It requires some folks within council to move these issues. I think I have a collaborative process, the long-term process of working with community and working on some issues. to really move on these issues, not just in District 9, but to help lead council as we have many new folks, a lot of folks are first time being involved in this policy. And focus on. I think it's important for us to look at safety, community safety, and I'm not just talking the increasing crime, which has been real. I mean, the district officers spoke about what's going on with the city, but really having the ability to work collaboratively with our service providers, and safety goes beyond just firefighters, it goes also to how we feel with our neighbors, and how we can actually ensure that the work that we're doing to ensure that reinforcement, whether it's within our area plans or within the larger strategic plans. I have a history of working with community organizations like that. And finally, on Healthy Denver. I'm a parks person, like I said, I chaired the game plan for the city for the year, master plan for the city of Denver. All right, so I chaired the game plan for, co-chaired the game plan for Healthy City for the city county of Denver. It is the 30-year master plan, strategic plan that the city uses right now for any strategies that Denver Parks and Rec or Mountain Parks use for waterways, parks, and any other things that impacts Denver Parks and Rec. I also work collaboratively to put forward the initiative that created 2A, which is Executive Parks. Really looking long term, and you'll see a lot of the work and collaboration and cooperation that I've been involved in has been momentary, just quick, fancy, flashy things. It's been long-term processes that take sometimes 2 to 3 years of working with community, learning and being humble and understanding what the community is asking and working towards something. That's the work that I do. I think having a healthy community, even beyond parks, is also ensuring that we have a healthy tree scape, and we're fighting against that's collaborated with City Forestry to get them on the way to start creating their first strategic plan in 50 years. They haven't had a plan yet, and had an opportunity to work with Body, with Castor, and some of the other organizations. They were not able to come together. We were able to sit with them and work through a process that they began on memorandum of understanding, and we have a strategic plan. We'll execute on that. And on our waterways, I think we have a massive opportunity within District 9 as you're looking at CSU Spur, and you're also looking at the expansion of the National Western Complex. What can we do collaboratively with them to ensure that a food desert like local where this community is at, so we can have the leading academic university in the region, right smack in our neighborhood? How can we collaborate with Southwest and all the good stuff that's happening with grants coming federally to clean up, flag, and support the good work that many of these organizations are doing? I think working collaboratively, having the humility to set up I think is important. I really appreciate the time that you're providing tonight for me to introduce myself, give you a sense of where I'm rooted, give you a sense of my commitment to collaboration. I will continue coming to these meetings, not to give speeches, to sit and talk, most likely to volunteer and to participate in community events. I do think this is an opportunity to have a youth to elect a leader that really love the city. I am optimistic about Denver with all the things that are going on. I'm optimistic that we have better days ahead of us. It requires someone with an ear open to listen, a heart to feel where folks are at, and the skill and the will to execute on the things that are facing. So with that, I'll stop. I don't know if folks have questions tonight, but I will be available.
Yeah, I think well, I for sure I wanted
Go
to
ahead,
back.
go ahead.
I have a question. I don't know if people can hear, see, Maria Flora, and I will be one of your constituents if you're elected to District 9. So
Nice.
I'm wondering if you are on council, if it comes before you, if you would protect the perpetual conservation easement that protects the parking. And I also, that's question 1. Question 2 is, if you've seen our Greater Park Hill News, there's an article about the Park Hill project. So I'll just offer that to you if you haven't read it.
And I haven't seen your Park Hill news, but I saw the 2 drawings. So let me first be clear. I think for the process that 301 provided, first and foremost, is that there's a vote that goes back to the residents, citizens of Denver. So I have no idea whether the first drawing that was provided by what's called the community process.
Or the
Yeah.
developer?
Yeah, by the developer, if that's going to be the final iteration of what they're putting forward. I don't know if what the community is put forward as a counter drawing, if that's gonna have any, that's gonna have any legs. But what I'm trying not to do is insert myself into this, what is number one, a heated process. Number two, there's clearly listed what's next. What's next is for the folks to vote, and I support 100% for the vote. If they came directly to city council, I would need to make sure I saw what is coming to council.
It'll go to council and then to the voters.
Correct.
So you'll be on council. Well, I don't know when it'll come before.
Yeah, I believe at first, there is a requirement in 301 for it to go to folks for a vote. That is, so council doesn't have to approve before it goes to council.
CPD says it does.
So
It'll go
I'm
to
not
council,
sure.
it'll go to council, then it'll go to the voters. I can show you, but
Yeah, so I'll read more on that piece, but I don't know what the outcome is. And what I am trying not to do, because there's so many folks who are simply running on this one issue, where there's 5 million other things that are going on within the city. I want to see what the final proposal is before I answer that question.
So no comment on the conservation easement.
I think a conservation easement is an important tool to ensure that there is open space and green space there. And so I support the conservation easement. But to say whether I would support what comes to council without being clear what exactly is going, that's normally not how I would lead. I need to see what's there. And once I see what's there, I'll be very clear to constituents, possible future constituents in the community as to price.
But you're being honest, that's the point you're making.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie on it, but I think it's, and I'll also say, one of the things that I'm not one who runs to the shiny, issue that pulls community apart. I think this is an important discussion. I want to make sure folks understand. I get this it's a big, important deal. There's 90% of what's going to be impacting the city and county of Denver. It's going to go beyond this issue. There are over 100 folks who are dying on our streets on an annual basis because they're on shelter. There are plenty of folks who look like me, can't live in our district. Plenty of folks who are like my husband, who are educators that can't live in our district. So I'm going to have to focus on all of these issues. But once I have the facts, I will not stutter. I will be very clear.
once you see a development plan, you'll decide whether you'll support the conservation easement.
No, well, I think the conservation easement is still the discussion as to what occurs with that based on the outcome of this process. And so the conservation easement that's there will go to the council for that vote, but I support the conservation easement. I know the conservation easement is important. So it's not a matter if I support a conservation easement or not, it's do I support whatever is coming to city council or not. And I don't know what that description, what that drawing, what that outcome is going to be.
Well, let me ask the final question, then. Do you support 100% open space?
I support having a part of that.
Daryl, I was bring up a case of, I remember Daryl Berger used to talk about in 2007, Daryl and Earl Madison were around. Daryl lost to Carla, Carla passed away, shortly before that, the next election, 2011, so he stepped up and like many other people ran for that office. And again, he did not get Alice on the track. And here we are in 2023, it's happened again, the district's a little bit different, and you're back running for the third time. Okay, my question is, what made you decide to run this time? Did someone approach you? I'll tell you right now, Daryl, right now, after what we've experienced, our Supreme Court justices lying to our Congress, people do not trust these wishy-washy answers. And I'm going to tell you right now, it's not going over with me, and I appreciate you, but this is not second one. Okay, I want you to tell me on this conservation that was voted on by the people, and it's supposed to be kept there, and it is either a yes or a no, period. Are you going to keep the conservation? You get all your other bubbles, I'll talk around this X, Y, Z, and I understand, okay, that we were trying to say, well, there might be something swinging. The bottom line is there's a lot of people, the developers paying for a lot of money, new funding doesn't allow that. but all kinds of people who work for these development companies have given a bunch of y'all money right now. And so it's very tragic, and I'm looking very clearly at that, and a lot of us are.
Yeah.
Because we're uncomfortable, we don't want our city to develop more and more and more, we want green space, and you say you're about parks, and you say, but you know what? Almost everybody can be bought, and this is,
Well,
I'm not
Jackie,
saying you're doing it, I'm
yeah,
saying, I'm
but
saying.
I know, I hear you, but let me be clear, I support a conservation easement. No one's gonna buy me,
Okay.
on this, number one. Number two, there are folks who are saying they support, what's going on in Greater Park Hill, that's never done a thing for parks. I have actually done stuff for parks for 25 years. And so I think there is a clear difference. This is a heated discussion. No one's buying me to say anything. I cannot and will not say, before I see the facts of whether I'm going to support what comes to council or not. And number two, in 2011, I put my name in for a race for Denver City Council. Within 5 days of putting my name in, I was diagnosed with cancer. So I pulled out of that race after 5 days. And so I did not, so it wasn't like I ran and lost, but I wasn't in the race because, I was fighting cancer. I'm running today. I'll finish though, but I chose to run today because I believe that the current view of what council does, it's a lot of these hot buttons is all we hear about. We have angry tweets that are occurring on a regular basis. But when you look on any given Monday, all of the issues that are coming before our city and before council, the person who would be a representative of this district fails 1 to 12. There's not like a Tuesday morning where that person gets up and speaks to the other members of council and say, hey, why aren't you supporting me? How can you move these issues forward? I believe the people in District 9 need someone that can sit down with council members and get 7 votes on issues that are important to them, that is inclusive of Northeast Park Hill Golf Course, and the outcome of whether there's a park there or not. You need someone who actually can work with council to get a vote for, and you also need someone that's going to work with the wider community. And I know, and I believe I'm that person. So I am not going to walk away from issues. I am just not tonight, and I don't think until I see the facts, tell folks one way or the other where I stand on what is one hot button issue within our whole course.
So we got a couple of questions. Okay, and
Yes,
wait, before we go there, Dara, I really want to encourage you to go to the Park Hill page, go to resources. I want you to look at the statistically valid survey we did spend a lot of money on. That was the opinion of this community. So regarding that issue, that's all. I'm asking you to read it for yourself
And I'll do
because that survey is, we used a reputable firm, even a firm the city has used, and is continually ignored by CBD, by West Side, by members of city council, and it's time that it gets acknowledged. So that's all. I'm encouraging you to read it and come back.
Just right on your website?
Yep,
I'll read
under
it.
resources, yeah.
Hi, thank you for coming. My name is Brenda Morrison. I too live in this district. So my question to you is, and I agree that these flashy issues, deter from, your normal day-to-day work as a city council member. But what this issue has illuminated for me, though, is, and this is a nerd issue maybe within this community, is the processes that are, and the processes within the city. That if you're looking for factual things, you need to look at the processes that the city has done with this, who they've, how this has worked, because it has not, that's what's been, to be honest, maybe a little discouraging. I think it makes people wonder about who's got access and who doesn't have access to staff. Yeah, and so those are things that whether it's this issue or another issue in a different part of the city, it would be the same. And what I think it feels like is our city council has been somewhat, I was gonna say emasculated. Like the entirely said that. But that they don't, they don't have. They don't have information, and they don't assert themselves. And so that's, if you're looking for facts.
I hear you, and I would
Not
say,
dig in.
no, I would say, it's easy to review my history. I didn't just jump into this without a background of taking on tough issues. And I know the importance of having a council member whose voice, number one, that you hear, and number two, that you can believe that is listening to you and that is moving on the issue. But I've been a person as far as someone with integrity, someone that listens. I am not always going to agree with the folks that I haven't always agreed with the folks that I serve. But I serve, and that's the difference. I don't expect y'all to come around to where I'm at. I'm here to listen to you and try to work that process to bend that curve towards what community is saying. So manipulated or whatever the other members of council is, that doesn't describe me. I'm happily retired at 50. Ain't no money anyone has. It's going to be giving me anything else. I'm not looking for another job. I chose to come into this race because number one, my mother that lives in Curtis Park calls me every Monday night. She watches Channel 8 like I watch football. She's screaming and cussing at the screen. She said very clearly, you need to do something. And I know I have both the skill and the will to do the will of the people. So we ain't gonna agree on everything. But what you will know, you will hear my voice. I will be in the room listening. I will take the bruises and the disagreements, but I would say 90% plus of where we are at as a community, and I'm talking Park Hill as a whole, even though they separated part of Park Hill into another district. Park Hill as a whole, I know that I'm with you on 90% plus of the things that you're fighting for. And I know even higher, but I'm being conservative. And I know you're gonna know where I stand on those issues. And I'm gonna be in this room most likely almost every month until April. And until after that, I'm not gonna back down. I'm gonna answer your questions. I'm gonna keep coming. So.
We have one more question. Sandy, do you want to unmute yourself?
Hi, I'm here. I hope you can hear me. Can you hear me okay, Tracy?
Yep, we
Yeah.
can.
Thank you. Thank you, Daryl, for being there. You know, I have a question. Whether it's rumor or whether it's true, there seems to be a little bit of a connection, or I shouldn't even say a little bit, but I certainly have heard that there is a considerable amount of connection between you and a couple of unpopular candidates. In particular, Albus Brooks. There seems to be a tight association between you two, and with the unpopular Hancock administration. So you as a candidate, how do you differ from those two unpopular kind of political parties or political politicians, I should just say? And how do we know that by voting for you, we're not just getting more of the same? Thank you.
Thanks, Sandy. And let me start with the end, and then I'll describe the first part, my relationship with Councilman Brooks or with Mayor Hancock. First and foremost, the same that this district will have in 2023 is a leader that has not been able to move the needle on really any item within the last 3.5 years. The same as the current leader states even in their communication that they've had one legislative victory once again in 3.5 years. That's the same. I know I will do better. I know I will be a more constructive and collaborative leader on Denver City Council. My relationship with Councilman Brooks, I've known Albus Brooks for a very long time. The councilman didn't ask me to run for Denver City Council. I had actually coffee and tea with his mother today because I know Dr. Brooks for a very long time. I respect his family. I don't legislate like Councilman Brooks. I don't lead like Councilman Brooks. But that doesn't mean that I don't like Councilman Brooks or that I don't have respect for his mother as well, who has been someone who has been a good, close friend to my mother as well. So relationships do matter. And I think in politics, oftentimes it's easy to just throw people away. I disagree with Councilman Brooks on a whole host of things. But he is someone that I know very well, and he did not ask me to run. I'm not running on his behalf. I'm not
running his platform. I can assure you, when you see the way my campaign is, I'm not gonna run like him. And if the idea to support me means I have to be against my brother and be against Councilman Brooks, that's not gonna happen. I'm not going to not. I don't choose divisiveness or not respecting someone else because of the things that they've done and the way they've led, whether they're popular or not. So Councilman Brooks didn't ask me to run. Councilman Brooks is not part of my campaign. I'm my own man. I'm running my own campaign, but I want to make it clear to people, I'm not turning my back on anyone. People I agree with, people I don't agree with. When I become a council person, I'm going to be listening to everyone. Mayor Hancock and I don't, Mayor Hancock has not directed my campaign. He doesn't lead my campaign. He didn't ask me to run. I've known Mayor Hancock when he was with the Urban League. I'm aware of what he has done. I am aware that folks aren't happy with him. They're not happy with the way he is led when it comes to parks. I'm not happy with when I led the Denver Parks and Rec Advisory Board. He and I butt heads constantly on many issues, to the point of him removing all of his appointees from the Parks and Rec Advisory Board when I worked to pass votes that he didn't like. And still with that, I still talk to him. I still pray for him and his family. I hope that he is well. I just think in politics, sometimes we get to this point where it's a death match. It's not like that for me, and it never will be. And I know that may or will turn people off, but I ain't coming in here to hate nobody. I'm not coming here to say that I'm better or they're worse. I am my own person. So Sandy, I appreciate the question asked, but I pray and I support my community, and Councilman Brooks at least is still in District 9, and I will listen to him just like I will listen to everyone else. But no one owns me. No one can own me or will own me.
Daryl, thank you. I just, one comment regarding on that. First of all, thank you. And I realize that we have many issues in this city. We have a growing problem. Our city is getting more and more trashy. I was on a very scary incident on the Colfax bus yesterday. Safety and crime are an issue, and park space is an issue. And I realize we're primarily talking about this because it's a big issue for this community. Denver is behind on park space. We need a solution to this.
I'm just simply saying to y'all, tell me the person who's running for Denver City Council that has done more work to add more park space in the city and county of Denver than I have. Tell me the person who's running who's done more to ensure we have dedicated funding than I have, who created a plan for doing that than I have. There's no one that's doing it. So I am working with the Trust for Public Lands to ensure that we come from 18 down to 9. There's not another person running for District 9 that can stand and speak to any of the ways in which they've been working with Trust for Public Land and parks across, park leaders across the country to increase park space in Denver. I'm the only candidate in this race that's doing it. You're going to have candidates who are going to stand up here and say everything that you may want to hear. Like, yes, I support everything that you're saying, but they have not done any of it in the 15, 20 years that they've been in elected life. Ask them what else have they done for parks, what park space have they built in any community, and then match it to my record, and I can assure you, I will not, they will not surpass my park championship.
Jared, we got one more question.
Yes.
Woody, go ahead and unmic yourself.
Sure. Daryl, my name is Woody Garnsey. I'm a 50+ year resident of Park Hill. And I hear you, what you just said about your commitment to parks. The clearest way that you could convince the constituents of District 9 that you believe in parks is to take a stand firmly to preserve the conservation easement that taxpayers purchased in 1997 to preserve that land for open space and recreational purposes in perpetuity, and to support the idea that amenities that people might want to put on that land should be put on other land, not on the preserved open space. And with a focus, excuse me, on the land around the 40th and Colorado Light Rail Station, where we've identified at least 2 real estate developers who've assembled over 40 acres of land already, and that's just the tip of the iceberg. And that's going to be a very dense residential and commercial development area going forward, probably all the way over to Rhino. And that's where I personally, and I think most of the people I've talked to who live in the new District 9, think we ought to be making our commitments, is to not to give in the slightest to breaking a conservation easement that's a unique asset owned by the city and county of Denver for all the citizens of Denver.
Woody, I hear you, and I know you and I have engaged on topics about parks over many years. All that I can say to you and folks here is that I will be very clear once we have the final product put before council. I'll be very clear where I stand on that. I support all of the development that you described as well, Woody, because I think it's smart. Blueprint highlights that development around transit-oriented development. I think the folks that you are speaking to who are considering that development, I think it makes sense to have that development there around transit-oriented development. So I support all of that. I'm just not committing right now to just simply say that 152 acre park is the only thing that I would support on Park Hill Golf Course.
Well, I just have to say it's disappointing to hear, because this is an invaluable asset for all the neighbors in District 9 and for the whole city. And once you put concrete on 1 square foot of that land, it'll never see the light of day again. And what the planning department is doing, Daryl, is what I call planning malpractice, because their planning effort for this area plan that they're going to get ready to present to city council puts on the blinders of only looking at the 155 acres of the Park Hill Golf Course land, completely ignoring the area we're talking about around the 40th and Colorado Light Rail Station and other places. And they're ignoring the development that's we know is going to take place on the ULC land north of the Park Hill Golf Course land. They're ignoring the Del West project over on Holly that's announced. And I think the voters are going to ask all of the candidates to take a firm position on this critical issue citywide.
I agree. And I mean, it's not, I didn't anticipate the question and the expectation. So I'm here. My hope is to continue being here and having this dialogue. And it's, I know it's going much longer than folks anticipated.
Thank you.
Yeah, but thank you for your question.
Big deal. What's your website?
It's www.watson, WATS1 I'm actually going to send that out. So I was going to be my
Watson.
WATS1 Denver.com.
And you said your first one was, I'm trying to put it in the notes chat for everybody.
So just the regular www.watson4denver.com.
Okay.
So it's the FOR Denver.com. Thank you all for having me. Thanks for asking questions. And most likely we'll be back next month.
Great.
All right, thank you.
All right. So just real quick, we don't have a forum for approval of the meeting minutes for June, so we're gonna jump right over. Maria, are you doing the community engagement event at Axum to update everyone?
Yeah.
And we're gonna try and talk loud, folks online, so she's gonna come near the mic.
I don't know who can see me and who can hear me, but Brenda Morrison and I are co-chairs of this Block Workers Committee / Outreach Committee, and Tracy's on it, Shane's on it, Shanta's on it, Jackie's on it, and we've met a bunch of times, and we now got word from Denver Parks and Rec that we are going to get our permit for an event in Axum Park on October 9th. I call it Greater Park Hill Fall Festival. We're not exactly sure what we're gonna do. We're thinking, we had a meeting, and we were gonna do ice cream over Labor Day, and then it got into October. So the suggestion that Shauna made was to do hot dogs. and potato chips and just, we're gonna give away food. We're gonna have, a face painter. We're gonna have a bubble machine. It's gonna be a really low-key inaugural fall festival, and we hope to get 200 people there. So it's kind of small potatoes, but it's a start. October 9th, 2 to 5 p.m. We've got a $300 sponsorship, up to $300 for the face paint. And we're looking for more sponsorships, like somebody wants to sponsor the bubble machine or something like that. So sponsorships, let Brenda or me know. We're gonna need volunteers, let Brenda or me know. Now we now have a date, October 9th. And we need board members and interested citizens to show up, come get a hot dog, get your face painted, get some bubbles in your face. So we'll be working on promotion. And we have a very, very rough budget. Depends on whether people are require us to do porta potties, whether they like our trash plan, which we're assuming we can do at no cost, the cost of food, but we think around $1,000 is what we're gonna need, minus any sponsorships.
Do you have to
we get
provide
for the event.
porta potties even with the bathrooms?
Well,
In the park?
it's up to them.
Oh.
I won't know until we have a walkthrough.
Because there are restrooms in that
There are
park, right?
restrooms, but if they have an event that brings other people into the
Certain
park,
number of people.
they don't want to have people crowded out of the
Sure.
restrooms. So they'll decide when we do our walkthrough. So that's a question mark. And let's see, what else did we want to say about the
Well,
accent?
and remember, and I said back, because I had missed this meeting because I was at an event, but I was just gonna say is the sponsorship idea is a really good idea, like if somebody sponsors the bubble machine, so here, businesses know to get credit for it. Just like, remember that, and I used the example, remember when they set back up, it was right here, when we got the fountain going in Little City Park, okay? Remember people were buying spigots, do you remember this? And everybody bought like one spigot, remember, and sponsored it, different individuals. It's a really cool way to go.
Well, I don't know how fancy we're gonna get.
And we're not discouraging individuals from donating to this event, to
Oh,
connect with
no.
their neighbors and.
We are actively, we're actively asking people to make cash sponsorships.
And everybody's getting $750 to $1,500 back.
That's right, everybody's getting a bundle of money.
Well, isn't it just, as I understood, money we would be getting back next year?
It's, well.
Or at least some portion of it? So-
Yeah, but either way, it's cash.
They're just fronting us money, we are gonna pay them over the next year, or 6 months, or
But the
whatever.
good news is-
And then get back at the end of the year.
So we anticipate over the next month, we'll have the budget firmed up, we'll know more about what Denver Parks and Rec is going to require us to do, and if they agree with our trash plan. So we anticipate coming to the board at the September meeting with the budget and the request for approval of what we're gonna end up proposing.
And I can't stress enough, another request for donations. It is a very stressful year financially, so. That's all.
And then I wanted, Brenda, did you still want to talk about distribution of the newspaper a little bit?
Just really quick, everybody, this is our outreach committee, so one of the things we're doing is the priorities, do a better job, just to be more inclusive in our neighborhood. So that's why we're having the event, but the other thing we really need to work on is getting our newspaper distributed north of MLK specifically. So if, it doesn't take very long, they'll get dropped on your porch. If you have 10 minutes to just do a quick walk around your block, walk around, just cross, especially if you live in, live in that area, or you live in the northern part of Park Hill, you can just walk across the street. We'd really, really appreciate it. We really could use some help up there. So let me know. Thanks, guys.
Yes, thank you.
Great work.
Yeah. And I think that's a wrap, folks. Thank you as always, be involved in your community. We'll see you next month. And again, donations for that event.
I'll work on it.